Welcome back, Battlefield and Hood Rat communities. I have something I need to admit today. Something potentially controversial with a wink and a nod. Something deliberate with no apologies, no softening the blow, no language dressing. Something profound and wise. Something stupidly simple and ridiculously complex, all wrapped up in a 3 a.m. drunken rage packaging. Well, Hannibal, what is it? What is this truth you wish to speak upon? What blessed message must ye spread across the land? Well, I'll tell you. Sometimes it really is a skill issue, bro. See, there's a slew of times I miss the shot. Hell, sometimes I completely miss the target altogether. Sometimes I don't see the guy standing 10 feet away from me. Sometimes I push when I shouldn't have pushed. Sometimes somebody comes flying around a corner at approximately Mach Jesus, and by the time I've figured out what the hell just happened, I'm already staring at the death screen. And you know what? That's okay. Because I've said multiple times, I'm an average Battlefield player. One of those filthy casuals. The Battlefield dad.
Let's go.
I've never pretended otherwise. Not once in any of my videos have I suggested to the idea that I am on the council with the granted title of Master.
I don't know how the fuck you were shooting me.
And I'm most definitely not alone here in my toolbox of skills I can and cannot pull from. I've got all sorts of players in my Discord with varying levels of skill. We have casuals, we have mechanically sound players, highly technical players. We've got PC players and console players. All hanging out, chilling, vibing, and all contributing in their way to the matches we play. I've got a few age ranges in there too. We've got the almighty Gen X, some millennials, and a few Gen Zers in there. I'm 51 years old, my dudes. I've been playing video games for a very long time. I go as far back as Pong, the Atari 2600. I saw the rise of personal computers start entering people's homes. I saw the dawn of a new era with the NES. I witnessed the evolution of floppy disks, cartridges, genies, even cassette tapes. I remember when Mortal Kombat introduced blood in their game and how much it flew all over the boomers. I mean, you are talking to a genuine 80s satanic panic survivor. Video games are bad. Heavy metal was especially bad for your soul. And Christ in heaven, don't have dice on you with a notepad filled with character stats. Dungeons and Dragons is the devil, Bobby. Feel free to pause the video and do a search on any of those terms you are unfamiliar with. My age group knows. They know things like the PMRC. They remember the age of not having an ESRB rating stamped on their game boxes.
Let's go.
And I know what kind of gamer I am. I'm slower than a lot of other gamers, especially the modern gamer. I'm a little bit more deliberate. I like taking my time. I like looking around. I like figuring out where players are coming from before I run across an open field screaming YOLO. We see a lot of fast-paced, over-the-top, ridiculous manipulation of movement and gaming all over the internet. And honestly, I'm not shit-talking that. I often find that style of gameplay extremely impressive. What I don't find impressive is when somebody takes that ability and turns it into a license to look down on everybody who doesn't play the same way. Being really fucking good at Battlefield doesn't make somebody pretentious. No. Being really fucking good at Battlefield and then deciding everybody who isn't must suck, shouldn't play, or doesn't deserve an opinion? Yeah. That I find pretentious, exhausting, prima donna, and insufferable. Because you could be a fantastic player and still be a shitty human being. Those are two completely independent skill trees. Mama said I could be anything when I grew up, so you grew up to be an asshole. Congratulations. Anyway, I'm not interested in learning how to bunny hop around every corner. I'm not spending 3 hours practicing movement, trick shots, or force my own viral Battlefield moment. I'm not practicing tweaked out gameplay. I'm not trying to become an esports movement demon who can wipe an entire squad before the first guy's body hits the ground. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's kind of cool to squad wipe in a single mag, but it's not something I consistently seek out every time I fire up a game. Now, let me be clear. If you hear that and immediately think, this guy's just crying, then you're not listening and should probably check if your mom's getting your bottle warmed up. This isn't a complaint video. I'm simply setting the stage for you. So sit back down and wait, and sit on your hands if you have to. Now, could I probably get better at some of that if I practiced? Well, sure. That's always on the table. But here's the thing. I don't want to. And that's not an insult to the people who do. Some of you guys, as I just mentioned, are absolutely fucking ridiculous at this game. I've watched people do things in Battlefield that I couldn't reproduce if you gave me 6 months, a case of Red Bull, and a legally questionable prescription. And good for you. Seriously. But that's not why I'm here. I don't play Battlefield because I'm trying to find out how good I can become at first-person shooters. I'm not interested in being an esports wannabe. I'm playing Battlefield because I like playing Battlefield. I like most of the maps. I like most of the vehicles. I like watching a building disappear because somebody decided structural integrity was merely a suggestion. I like spotting somebody 300 meters away and watching a teammate deal with him. I like seeing a tank roll around a corner and immediately realize that whatever plan I had 5 seconds ago has now just been cancelled. I like those ridiculous Battlefield moments where 15 different things are happening and somehow you're standing in the middle of all of it trying to figure out what the fuck you're supposed to shoot first. I absolutely love watching bodies ragdoll through the air when a shell or grenade lands close enough to just send them pinwheeling across my screen. And it's a bonus if I could capture that moment in my recorded footage. I've even considered doing a long-form video of nothing but that shit. Like a gag reel. That's why I'm here. And I've played games this way for years. I've played The Division for years. I played Elite Dangerous for years. When I find a game I enjoy, I don't want to consume it as quickly and as efficiently as humanly possible. I want to live in the damn thing for a while. I mean, fuck, I paid for it. I'm going to milk every ounce of entertainment out of it that I can. I bought Battlefield to play Battlefield. And that's something I think casual players being just casual players is something we should all be okay with. If we can set aside the pain points we've discussed lately, such as netcode issues, desync problems, whatever, and just look at the game for what it is, you're going to lose gunfights. You're going to have bad games. You're going to finish somewhere in the middle of the scoreboard. And sometimes you may even finish near the bottom. You're always going to run into somebody who's simply better than you. And occasionally you're going to run into somebody who's so much better than you that the encounter becomes less of a gunfight and more of a demonstration. I hate to break it to some of you, but a functioning multiplayer game requires average players. Statistically, it has to. Everybody cannot be above average. Everybody cannot have a 2.5 KD ratio. Everybody cannot dominate the lobby. Every kill somebody gets is somebody else's death. Every player who finishes first creates somebody who finished 32nd.
I'm doing pretty good, I reckon.
I don't consider this failure.
Bradley rolling on
It's simple math. That's the fucking ecosystem. And more importantly, we should not demand dice to flatten the skill curve. No, we should accept our skill levels, see where we can improve and where we can't, and find wherever we want to land in that position somewhere inside that curve. Look, I'm not asking Battlefield to protect me from better players. I'm not asking someone with better aim to intentionally miss. I'm not asking that movement guy to slow down because Hannibal needs a minute. Meet me. I'll respawn. I'll probably have some choice words, but I'll be saying them as I respawn. That's literally the arrangement we agreed to when we both clicked multiplayer. What I don't understand is why losing that fight somehow means I'm participating incorrectly. So yes, respawn. Try again. Because that's multiplayer. There are people playing Battlefield 6 right now who have more time invested in shooters than some people have invested in their careers. I mean, I'm not exactly sure if that's something to brag about or keep on the down low. The jury's still out on that. And you're going to encounter them. You may even encounter them often. Maybe every day. But there's nothing written anywhere that you have to become them. And before somebody gets this twisted, I'm not hating on sweats here. I'm not pulling out a box of tissues because some dude was faster than me, had better aim, better movement, or just flat out kicked my ass. Good for him. What I'm talking about is the casual player who looks at all of that and starts wondering if maybe this game isn't for them. Or thinks they can't compete because they're never going to move like that. Or worse, thinks they shouldn't even be playing because they can't. Fuck that. You can compete. You might not dominate. Those are two completely different things. You could contribute to your squad. You could take objectives. You could revive people. You could spot for your squad and team. You could repair. You could defend, delay, deflect long enough for your teammates to show up. You could get kills. You can win those matches. And yeah, sometimes that movement demon is going to come around the corner and fold your ass like fresh laundry straight from the dryer. Respawn. Being outplayed doesn't mean you don't belong in the game. There's this weird assumption in modern multiplayer gaming that playing a game naturally produces an obligation to optimize it. I mean, think about the vocabulary surrounding games now. Meta, optimal, best in slot, tier lists, movement tech, aim training, kill-death ratio, SPM, win rates, build guides, settings guides, controller settings, mouse sensitivity settings, frame latency, competitive advantage. Now, none of those things are inherently bad, but they're all tools for tuning playing into performance, in my opinion. Somewhere along the way, playing a multiplayer game, or any game for that matter, stopped being enough for some of us. Now we're supposed to optimize the experience. Optimize this weapon, those attachments, settings, the movement, the route we take through the maps. Optimize our fucking monitors. And again, none of that is wrong. But what if I don't want to optimize my hobby? What if sometimes I just want to experience it? Now, after the conversations we've been having lately, I need to make this distinction. Because we've talked about crossplay, matchmaking, latency, desync, hit registration, and those things do exist. And when something legitimately goes wrong, saying skill issue doesn't magically make the technical problem disappear. But the opposite is also true. Not every death requires an investigation by the National Transportation Safety Board. Sometimes we missed. Sometimes the opponent didn't. That's it. Skill issue, bro. Redeploy. And this is probably the distinction that matters most to me. Being casual doesn't mean I don't care about playing well. Of course I want to play well. I want to hit my shots. I want to help my squad. I want to take objectives. And I want to win. And when I screw something up, I'll try not to screw it up next time. If someone prevents me from accomplishing my goals to win, well, I'll adjust accordingly. Perhaps even begrudgingly. That's improvement. But improvement doesn't have to become the entire reason I'm playing. And don't get me wrong, casual players do improve. All the time. I've played Battlefield long enough that I'm obviously better at Battlefield than I was when I first started. And most of that happened organically. I learned maps because I played them. I learned where people tend to come from because I've been shot from there more times than I care to count. I started learning how other players look at the map, or how they don't. I learned which weapons I liked and which ones I could live without. I learned when something feels stupid. And I learned how to recognize a collapsing objective. I didn't necessarily sit down and say, tonight from 7 to 8:30 I shall practice my Battlefield verses and stanzas. No. I simply just played. And because I played, I improved. So no, I'm not opposed to getting better. Not at all. In fact, I encourage it. What I am opposed to is the assumption that getting better has to become the purpose of playing. There's a huge difference between I want to get better at this game and I cannot enjoy this game until I'm better than everybody I'm playing against. I'm perfectly comfortable with the first one. I have absolutely no interest in the second. Why? Why not improve to godlike levels? I get comments all the time that my content can't be taken seriously based on my gameplay alone, or that there's bots in my footage. So why not improve to those God of War-like powers? Because where does that end? Suppose I do improve. Now I'm better than 50% of the lobby. Okay, great. Someone is still better. So I practice more. Now I'm better than 75%. Someone is still better. 90%? Still, somebody's better. At some point, you've got to decide what you're actually trying to get out of this hobby. And my answer is pretty simple. Entertainment. That's it. I want to turn Battlefield on, spend a few hours with friends, have some ridiculous shit happen, hopefully win a few matches, probably complain about some dumbass teammate like, why is this dude just sitting in the tank doing donuts? There's no fucking ribbon for that shit. Laugh about something that shouldn't have happened, and turn the game off feeling like those couple of hours were worth my time. That's the transaction for me, in a nutshell. And somewhere along the way I came here to YouTube land with the goal of sharing this idea and others with you fine viewers to find like-minded people who enjoy the game, the conversations, the hangout, either here or in my Discord. Basically a community of people who simply enjoy playing video games for the sake of entertainment and a little escapism. Because fuck me, there's enough drama out there in the world, and I really don't want it leaking into my fun. I bought a game. I want enjoyment. And I want to share that enjoyment with others. I didn't purchase software to marry to spreadsheets or graphs and then present a 45-minute PowerPoint presentation on how this isn't fun. Think of it like this. People participate casually in virtually everything else. Millions of people play golf knowing they'll never make the PGA Tour. People play pickup basketball knowing LeBron isn't losing any sleep. People play guitar their entire lives and never become Eddie Van Halen. People cook without aspiring to Michelin stars. People take photographs without becoming professional photographers. People go bowling and throw 137 and still order another pitcher of beer. Nobody walks over afterwards and says, "Why are you still bowling if you're only averaging 137?" Because the answer would obviously be, because I fucking like bowling. Gaming seems to have this bizarre capacity to make that answer sound insufficient. So I'm not sure why gaming sometimes treats casual participation differently from virtually every other recreational activity. So I always say, play your truth and enjoy. So yeah, I'm an average player. I move slower than some of you. Hell, probably a lot of you. My reaction time isn't what it was when I was 20. I'm never going to be the movement guy. I'm never going to spend my evenings practicing trick shots. I'm occasionally going to make decisions that make absolutely perfect sense right up until the exact moment somebody shoots me in the face. Skill issue, bro. And that's okay, because I don't need to be exceptional at something before I'm allowed to enjoy doing it. And neither do you. I make content for deep dives regarding the back-end section for a better understanding of how things work, how they are designed, good or bad, and to come to better or more informed conclusions. I don't personally like making these sorts of videos for a multitude of reasons. The simplest reason is because I don't suffer from 99% of the issues others are claiming to experience. This channel wasn't intended to be an analytical style channel anyway. It was intended to be a channel to come hang out and we simply talk about our love for a hobby that we choose to spend our free time in. A place where any level player can come to and nod their respect to the others in the room no matter how well or bad they play. So, play at your level. Try to get better if you want to get better. Don't if you don't. Play aggressively. Play slowly. Drive that tank. Fly that helicopter. Sit on a hill with a sniper rifle. Camp to your heart's content, brothers and sisters. Run support and spend half the match picking everybody else's dumbass off the pavement. Whatever part of Battlefield makes you want to hit deploy one more time. And do that. You're probably going to get your ass kicked occasionally, as will I. We'll both respawn. Fellas, remember, this isn't a defense of being bad at playing games. It's the recognition that participation doesn't require being exceptional. But also remember, at some point, somebody will still type cope because in-game chat and YouTube comments were apparently included in Pandora's box. I'm sure some scrub will type something along the lines of cope for this video too. Fuck 'em. And now, I leave it to you, my Battlefield community and my hood rats. How much does being good at Battlefield actually matter to you? And more importantly, are you actually playing the game? Or are you gaming it? Thanks for watching. And until the next one,
Dude, it don't matter.
Out.
We're gonna get blown the fuck up, so.